Gentlemen, this is the Borough of Crafton business agenda meeting call to order. And I don't have a gavel, but there you go. Flag salute with Mr. Alo. So, all right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. Roll call.
All right. Mr. Alo.
Here.
Mr. Amendola. Mr. Amendola.
You're mute. Somebody unmute him. I'll take care of it.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Go
Okay.
ahead, Fred.
Here.
Fred. Okay.
Here?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Kraus.
Here.
Mr. Crown.
Here.
Mr. Lavasser.
Here.
Ms. Perry.
Here.
Mr. Saba.
Here.
Mayor Bloom.
Here.
Solicitor, Mr. Corbel.
Present.
Engineer, Mr. Misterman.
Here.
I am here. Mr. Kezarowski.
Here.
You definitely have a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. All right. May I have the approval of the bills list dated April 13th and April 27th, 2020,
So
please?
moved. So moved.
Second.
I'm sorry, who was the second?
Mr. Crown.
Very good, thank you.
Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any
I'm
of that
going
opposed?
to assume that
All right, hearing none. All right, passage of the bills list, thank you. Approval of the minutes for March 23rd, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
All that opposed? All right. Approval of the minutes, thank you. All right, citizen comments.
So we're going to jump in
And-
here and change this up a little bit, Phil. And anyone who has, we're going to just have like an open citizen comment session, I think, for the fact that this is a little bit different format than we're
Okay,
used
Brad.
to, and for just the sake of the attendees.
Okay, Brad, do you you've got that part of it covered, right?
Yeah,
On your-
there's
on your
5
side?
people in there. Yeah, I'm monitoring the participants there.
Looks
Okay,
like
do
Rob
you
has
see
his
anything?
right there.
Well, Rob, do you have your hand up or was that inadvertent hand up virtually?
I did that just to let you know I was here.
Okay,
Okay,
Sorry about
that's cool. No, that's good. That's like we did in school. I have one attendee, Mary Luxbacher, who has her hand up. Does any other attendees, any other citizens want to make a citizen comment? There should be a box there that allows you to raise a virtual hand. If you can click that, that would help us greatly. Because I'm going to give a couple seconds here for anyone who wants to click that. In the meantime, Mary, if you want to state your name, your address for the record, and you have 3 minutes when you're starting now. Mary,
Can you hear me?
we can.
Yes.
Okay. No, I had written a question to the manager and I didn't know if that was already revealed or whatever. As a member of the rec board, many citizens here have in Craft, I'm Mary Luxbacher, 71 Dinsmore Avenue in Crafton, PA. As a member of the rec board, I have been getting a lot of inquiries about, and I see it is kind of on the agenda today, about what are the plans for the summer. And I know a lot of it depends on what happens in the next month and stuff like that. And that's basically, I had sent to Russ, I had sent a question concerning that.
All righty. So as we corresponded, and as you imagine, we're taking our cues from the state and county government. Governor Wolf this evening released a email or a letter to the public relaxing some of the restrictions. However, they don't release the borough or any of the other municipalities from continuing to keep the recreational facilities closed. The state parks will still be closed as well. Solicitor Corbel, can you chime in here on that?
Yeah, I mean, that's correct. That's I haven't read the new order from the governor, but my understanding is that as it relates to recreational facilities, pools, things of that nature, that we will be getting some guidance from the governor or the Department of Health, etc., in the coming days. I know that lots of other municipalities are struggling with this, and the state understands that, and they're looking at issuing some kind of guidance. So my thought is that we should, maybe by the time you all meet the next time, we may have a better sense of where things are headed.
All right, thank you. All right, are there any other go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, is there any, we have another attendee just came into the meeting. So you guys, this is a time we're going to do all the citizen comments at the beginning of the meeting here. So does anyone else, there's a button there to speak, to raise your hand virtually. Does anybody else have anything they want to add before we move on to the business agenda? Going once, going twice.
And just so you know, we're doing all the comments up front this time.
Yeah, I'm going to monitor this box here, Phil, while you chair, and if I see someone, we'll try to fit them in because maybe you're working with the functionality of the software. So.
Okay. All right, I'm going to go back to. I'm going to go back to sharing. Go ahead.
If I can just say something real quick. Mary, thank you for fielding those questions. I know I'm pretty sure a lot of folks have been reaching out to you. So thank you for taking that time and addressing residents' concerns.
Yes, thank you. All right, moving forward, acknowledgement of the written reports for March 2020, the Treasurer's Report, Financial Report, the Act 511 Report, Trash Collection Reports, Property Tax Collection Report, Police Report, the EMS Report, the Ordinance Officer's Report, the Building Inspection Report, Public Works Report, Fire Department Report, and Library Report. All right, any questions or comments regarding those reports?
Many of those were not actually filed as of this moment.
That is correct. I would like to interject just something. Some of them were just not capable of reporting in, and we didn't have an inspection report because they weren't working. And
Right.
yeah, some of those reports are not available at this time merely because of what has been going on. That is correct.
Right. So I
Thank
see
you.
financial report. I see financial report, Act 511, trash, property, police, EMS, and building inspection.
That would be correct.
Okay.
All right. Has anybody heard from our friends at the library?
I
They
believe-
are currently meeting right now.
Right, they are meeting right now.
Okay.
I had spoken to the librarian briefly just to let her know what was going on with something I'll be discussing a little bit later, but other than that, that would be it.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'm going to move forward to my report. Just want to let the public know that over the past month, we've had emergency management calls 3 days a week, and then we pulled back to 2 days a week. So we've been in constant communication as a council with the emergency management coordinators and the mayor's office. So I think everybody's been doing a very good job working in solidarity to bring the borough through this. We've had some service limitations, and we've tried to adapt and overcome. As you can see, we've placed the dumpsters down by the borough building to try to make up for the fact that there's been limited service with waste management. We'll continue to monitor the situation, and hopefully things begin to normalize there over the next 30 days. However, we will continue to make accommodations, and I hope that everybody feels comfortable calling the manager's office. I think Russ has been doing a wonderful job. Baptism by fire, to say the least, here. We couldn't be doing it without the team in the administrative offices. Krishma and Catherine have been doing a phenomenal job. And if it wasn't for our public works and police department, I don't think we'd be able to say the same things that we be able to say tonight about the state of the borough. I believe the borough is in great shape. The mayor and I have been in constant communication over the past month, and I believe we'll just continue to monitor the situation and evaluate what our federal, state, and county officials say. And I do think that the manager and his leadership with the managers group that he is a part of, as we're one of many communities in Allegheny County that are working to evaluate and make our way through these very difficult times. And unfortunately, I don't believe the difficult times are going to be short-lived. The closure of businesses have had a severe impact on households, and we were going to have to manage accordingly, just as any household that has been impacted by a lack of work. We as a municipality depend on everybody having a healthy homestead, and we understand that everybody's physical abilities have been constrained by the pandemic. So with that, we're going to go through the rest of the meeting. There's going to be some minor relief, and we're going to get into the details there, things that we can control as a borough, and we will do our best as a borough to make it through this this event. So I'm going to move on to the mayor's report.
Looking at the reports that I received from the monthly reports, I can see that there's a definite downtick in the amount of calls that the officers are receiving, which goes to show that people are staying home. Also, I want to thank the police department for the way that they've handled themselves and presented themselves to the citizens during this pandemic. And also, I'll leave it up to Rob that the Public Works is doing an awesome job also.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mark, do you want to add anything since you're here and this is kind of in your turf?
No, I'd like to say that I'm very happy with the way the police department's performed. Everybody's working at 100% capacity, and we'll get through this hopefully.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. All right, moving forward to the engineer's report, because you have been busy, haven't you, Mr. Minsterman?
Yes, Mr. President. We had submitted the engineer's report for the last meeting. That's why I believe it's not on the list of reports received, but that meeting was canceled. So there is an entire list of projects and items that have been worked on. So you can view that. It's about halfway from that report to the new report. So we'll be preparing the new report the week before the next meeting, which I believe is the 11th. So the only thing that isn't on there is that the rec master plan and the trail planning grants were submitted, and the total for those that we estimated when you put this out for bid and find a planner, we estimated about 40,000 to do the rec plan and about 20,000 to do the trail plan. And there's a 50% match on that. Is what the grant is for, to develop those plans. So it would equate to approximately a total $30,000 match to develop both of those plans. As we discussed, the benefit to that is normally when the agency approves the development of these plans, the projects that end up coming out of and are recommended from these plans also get funded at a 50% match. So, and you've received grants like this before, the pool projects, and there have been others, but in any event, just wanted to update that to you. And then that'll be the motions or the resolutions for those two grants. The requests for those will be on the next month's agenda. And then we can have a discussion, obviously, about that at that meeting. So I don't have anything really to add on my report unless there are any questions, but the storm separation projects are moving ahead. The LOIs are getting submitted. The LOIs are a letter of intent, and that's related to the GROW project, and that is the funding that we've been seeking for the storm separation projects. So that is all on schedule and moving ahead. And you see on the agenda tonight that there is a recommendation to award the low bid for the South Grandview storm separation project to JetJack. It's blocked out on my screen, but I believe that's who it is. So in any event, that bid come in within the estimated budget. I think we estimated 448,000. So it all looks good. Now, once again, it's JetJack, and we've had some issues with them. I mean, their work is good. Their communication's not so good. But we're still recommending to move ahead. It's a good bid. They can build this project, and we're recommending to award to them. So that's coming up later in your business agenda. So that's all I have, unless there are any questions.
I don't have any additional questions. Anybody from council have a question?
I do, Phil, if you have a second.
Yep.
And on the agenda, it says Independent Enterprises, Rick. Is that right? Not JetJack?
Yeah, it's the same thing, same company. One is because of the, the prevailing wages, which are basically union wages. So they're required on this contract, but for like televising and some of the other contracts, they're not. And even if it's a non-union contractor like JetJack, they still pay the union wages. So Carnoni, who is the owner of both of those companies, sometimes he bids one way, sometimes he bids with another company, but it's basically the same company, almost the same guys, actually. So Independent Enterprise is essentially JetJack and vice versa.
Okay, thank you.
But I didn't notice it was independent because, like I said, the screen, the videos are blocking out the actual contractor, but I knew it was Carnoni.
Yep. All righty. All right. Do you mind if I move forward to the solicitor's report? Okay, I'm going to move forward. Steve?
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a few things from me today. First, we have advertised the ordinance to amend the pension ordinance to allow for the drop program that we negotiated through the collective bargaining agreement that was approved several months ago. That's been advertised for May 11th. It will be on your agenda for consideration. Additionally, sent 2 ordinances for council to review related to the regulation of the imminent rollout of the 5G cell phone technology in the borough and elsewhere in Western PA. You'll note that there are 2 separate ordinances. One is a zoning ordinance, and that regulates these new 5G type facilities. It's the whole issue is very complicated. There's a patchwork of laws that apply. We're talking about federal regulations. We're talking about state law, the Wireless Broadband Co-location Act. There's a lot of preemption out there. So what we've done is we've drafted these 2 ordinances, a zoning ordinance and another ordinance that regulates your rights of way, your public rights of way, in order to maximize the ability of the borough to implement the little control that you can have over this situation. My understanding is that the Planning Commission will be reviewing and commenting on the zoning side of things tomorrow at their meeting. And Phil, I don't know if you want me to sort of give a quick overview, but I was going to give a quick overview of both. I don't want to take up too much time. I know we've got a lot to talk about tonight. But the zoning side of things doesn't change anything with respect to where these things are permitted. The zoning ordinance regulates wireless communication facilities that are located outside of the public rights of way and that are taller than 50 feet. We added some definitions that make the zoning ordinance consistent with state and federal law. They will continue to be conditional uses in the C2 district. That is, I'm sorry, that's not a change from our current process for cell towers. But we did add additional special regulations with respect to the 5G ordinances that looks at things like exterior finish and compatibility with existing buildings, landscaping, insurance indemnification issues to protect the borough and try to have a seamless installation. Then under chapter 193, which is our streets and sidewalk ordinance, that's where we're regulating the placement of these wireless communication facilities in the borough's rights of way. In doing so, we created a permitting structure that would run through the building inspector, and there would be applications that needed to be made. They'd have to meet similar requirements from the zoning ordinance, because these are usually installed in the rights of way on short poles, or they're co-located on existing utility poles. And so there's the same regulations with respect to how they appear, make sure that they fit into the neighborhoods, etc. How they work from a functionality standpoint and attaching them to poles or buildings. A lot of times they're attached to buildings. So that's all addressed there. And again, it's a permitting process, which is consistent with state and federal law. So those 2 are in front of you. I'm happy to answer questions. I'm happy to take your input on revisions. From an implementation or moving forward perspective, I wanted to outline how I think we can put this together. If there aren't any major changes or concerns or comments, my thought was that we would advertise the Chapter 193, which is 5G facilities placed in the public rights of way, for your May 11th meeting. And then from a zoning perspective, there's a lot of lead time related to that. We have to go to the Planning Commission, which we hope that will be completed tomorrow. But then we also have to submit it to the county for review.
Steve froze up, right? That's not on my end, right?
Yeah, I think we lost
here.
Steve. Steve,
All right.
let me see if there's a thing in that box I can like chat him or something inside here. I can't. Okay.
If
He's probably
if I
still
may-
talking.
His 5G went down.
Yeah.
Heyo. That's a good one.
If
All
if
right,
I may
Russ.
just if I may just comment briefly, and Steve, correct me, but in talking to the Verizon reps who are very anxious to get this started in the borough, the majority of the installations that they're looking at would be extensions to current poles, utility poles that are already in existence. They run into an issue sometimes with Duquesne Light and being too close to electrical conduits, et cetera. But for the most part, these would be extensions to current utility poles and not new poles. But we can deal with that going forward a little bit later. But that's my understanding of how this works. And in previous positions, that's how it's been implemented in municipalities that I've had direct dealing with them installing a 5G network within communities.
Thanks, Russ. All right. If Steve hops back in, we'll loop back to him. All right, Russ, we'll just segue into you.
Okay. First and foremost, I just want to let you guys know that besides the pandemic, we had a major storm blow through the borough. What the employees have done to step up to do the work they've done has been amazing. As a new manager, what my administrative staff has done to help me has been equally amazing. And you should be very proud of them. They're very good. They're very good at what they do. And I'll just leave it at that. Been an interesting time for us all, that's for sure. But we are still working and working hard. A lot of these decisions that were Mary's question in the beginning is we're looking for guidance from the governor's office and from the Allegheny County Health Department on a lot of things of what we need to do and how we're going to do things going forward in a lot of the public sectors of pools, parks, et cetera, et cetera. We hope that comes sooner than later, for sure. With Rick's point, we had only two bids on that project that he's talking about over there on Grandview. And one was about $140,000 more than the other. As far as communication goes with JetJack or the other company, that's my job. And we're going to make sure that works. And between Rick and I know we will, and his staff. There's no doubt in my mind that we will have those conversations. Along the same side, a project was waylaid because of the virus, and that's the South Emily Street. And that will be starting, hopefully, I think, Rick, by May 8th, I think they want to get moving. Similarly, the Green Light Go project was also put on hold. That's going to be moving forward too as soon as those contractors are allowed to do work. So we do have a lot going on. And I've had a lot of interaction with Gateway with all these projects. And that communication line is very good. And we're going to continue to make sure that it stays that way. There's a motion coming up on the floor, not only for the what I mentioned before with the bidding on the Grandview project, but an important motion on taxes, the property taxes in the borough. The discount period will be extended to August 31st, and the face value will be extended to the end of the year. I think you all know that this is important for everyone, and I'm sure I don't really have to comment much more on that. I got a call today from the Department of Elections. They want to unify all the elections into one facility in the borough. They asked that the community center could be that part, and I believe it can be. I know we only have the one elevator going up, but we do have 2 doors going up both sides that I think we can work around and make it happen. They suspect the turnout's going to be very, very low. I think they're right, but it does, in my opinion, make the most sense to have that unified election area be at the community center. And finally, with the community center, we were under a short guide, a very short period of time to put a grant in, which we did submit. I did submit along with the help of Gateway to do an entire rehab of the community center and municipal building. No idea whether or not it's going to be accepted, quite frankly, and but it was worth a shot. And if it comes through, that'd be great, because we all know it needs some work, and hopefully we get it. It's similar to the pool grant that we have received, which hasn't been implemented yet because none of the county departments are working. So it's a catch-22 in that respect. But let's hope we get something. Who knows? I just don't have an idea. And finally, I'll be meeting with the managers in the South Hills area and West area. We'll be having conference calls coming up very soon on all these issues, because we all face the same problem. Can we open? Do we open? And if we do open, what part of it can we do? How do you have social distancing and have a swimming pool? How do you have concessions? How do you open up the parks and have them virus free? We're all facing the same problems. So we'd like to do that on a unified front. And I know most of them, which helps. And we'll work through that too, as best we can. And I'll report back to all of you the same way. I think that's about all I have.
Hey, Russ, I actually have a question. So in regards to the South Emily project, is that from the 2019 road project? The completion of the work they didn't finish last year, do you know?
No, that was a new bid that was, I think, accepted in February, but they were just shut down and not be able to start the project. That's the project. It's a rather intensive project, and I'll let Rick comment, that goes underneath a couple homes and stuff like that. It's not a simple project, but no, that was accepted this year.
Yeah, you may know as Johnson.
Johnson, South Emily. Yes, right. I'm sorry. Yeah.
North Emily and Johnston.
That's
right.
It. Okay. I'm sorry.
Do we have any idea from the contractors from the 2019 road project? I don't know if Russ, either you or Engineer Misseman, if you can answer that. Like if they're, as soon as they're able to do work, if they're planning on starting, or what that looks like.
Yes, the issue is that the asphalt plants are not open yet.
Okay.
So once they open, Mealy & Mealy is the contractor who is ready to go. So we're first on the list. They're going to come in and mill and pave. Should be able to knock it out pretty quickly. But waiting for the asphalt plants to open to get asphalt for the paving, obviously.
Awesome, thank you.
And finally, I'm sorry, one more thing. The inspection service that we contract out to has informed us that they're going to go back to work on May 1st. We do have an inspection ordinance in place that we need to discuss sooner than later as to maybe taking this out of a contract basis and bringing it in-house. I think Mr. Crown and the president are aware of this. The ordinance was passed probably 14 months ago to allow this to happen. I think it's a great idea, and bringing these types of inspection services inside is a priority. Regrettably, a lot of priorities have gone south with what has happened over the last 2 months. So, but anyway, we'll work on that.
Thank you, Manager.
Mr. President, I did have a question for the manager, if I may.
Yes.
Mr. Manager, you had mentioned the county reaching out about consolidating election polling locations. That's only for the June 2nd primary, right?
That is correct. And again, they expect a very low turnout with the ballots that they've sent out to everybody in the mail. And basically the presidential candidates are set. I was a little bit concerned the fact that we only have the elevator to feed the upstairs, but then looking at the fact that we have 2 other doorways, I think we can make it work. I can't think of a better facility right now, to tell you the truth. I'm open for any other suggestions, but off the top of my head, I just thought it did make a lot of sense.
What about the American Legion?
I'm not familiar with the facility, so, and I don't know if it was a voting district before, so I have to.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. And I do know the door's right there, so it's easy in, easy out. So
Okay.
that could be a potential alternate as well.
I didn't discuss it with them only because I really was not aware of what the voting districts were, to be honest. And that's
We have
something
quite
I
a
can call
few.
back on.
There's 6 polling places in Crafton.
Okay.
So, and they're relatively close to each other. So, yeah.
I'll call them back and maybe they can contact them. I don't want to speak for them, obviously, or anybody else. I just said the community center could be an option if they wanted it.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions for the manager? All right. Hearing none, I'm going to move forward to the business agenda. Under administration, we have a motion to approve resolution 2020-3 to implement the provisions of Act 15 of 2020, extending the discount period for payment of property taxes to August 31st, 2020, and waiver of all fees and penalties if paid in full by December 31st, 2020.
So moved.
All right.
I'm sorry.
Second.
Do that one again.
All right.
3, 2, 1, go.
So moved.
Second.
All right. There you go.
That's better.
Claire. All right. There you go. All right. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 All that oppose? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you. A motion to
Yeah.
accept, go up.
Just,
Yep.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Steve isn't jump back in, so we need, after this motion, let's cycle back to his 5G.
Yeah, and add a, yeah, okay. Motion to accept the low bid of $438,065 from Independent Enterprises for the South Grandview Storm Separation Project as recommended by Gateway Engineers.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 All that oppose? All right, thank you. Motion passes. All right, Steve, now that you're back here, do you want to finish up your chat about the 5G and do you want us to take any action on the drop pension this evening, or is that for the next meeting?
Yeah, no action on anything tonight. I just wanted to, and I'm not sure why I dropped off, but so I apologize for that. But I think what I was trying to say is from a strategy perspective, I think you all will be in a good position to consider adopting the right-of-way ordinance on the 11th. And if you're okay with that, I will advertise it as such. And then on the zoning front, unless there are major changes or concerns from council, I would suggest on the 11th that we adopt a pending ordinance resolution as we've done in the past on zoning matters. So then technically from May 11th on, you'll have your 5G regulations in place. And then, we would formally adopt the ordinance, the zoning ordinance at the end of June or early July, depending on when the county gets back to us. So that was sort of my overarching plan with this, and I'm happy to answer questions or get feedback that I'm nuts and we shouldn't do it that way. But that was my plan.
All right. I have no comments at this time. Anybody from council? Hearing none, moving forth to the discussion items. I didn't see any discussion items come in over the weekend or last week. Is there anything that anybody needs to bring up as of this moment?
Yeah, Mr. President, if I may. So I
Yes.
just wanted to say thank you to all the different departments, the police department, fire department, and public works, as well as the manager and the administrative staff have done a phenomenal job keeping business as usual within the borough. I also wanted to thank a lot of our community members. I've been seeing quite a few different folks volunteer, donate items, have Easter grab bags, as well as sending pizza to the police department. Just know that that's very appreciated, and it's nice to see, and we're showing everybody that this is what we stand for in Crafton, that we are one community, we're all neighbors, and we're all going to get through this together.
Thank you, Mr. Sala. Anybody else?
Yeah, I if I may.
Yes.
I noticed today I don't know if everybody got this email, but I certainly did. We received an email, kind of like a mass email, you would say, from the council president in Green Tree Borough. So maybe if you can pull that up, Phil. But I just was wondering if we had any thoughts on that email. It was in regards to, it should be in your
Yeah, I'm
email.
on my new laptop, so if you can share your screen if you want to.
Well, like I said, it should be in our emails if we log in, but essentially it was a email from a gentleman sent out to Carnegie, Crafton, Dormont, Green Tree, and Scott Township. That was basically a request for cooperation to request a non-binding study at no cost to the municipalities that are interested to consolidate services, in specific consolidation of the police department. Now, this was just for a study. It was not a binding request, so I just wanted to know what we thought about it.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody from council has anything to say. If you want to raise your hand, it's pretty new email. I don't know if anybody's had enough time to really digest that at this point.
Mr. President, that email came in at 3:07 today. It was from Mark Sampagna he's the council president of Green Tree. As many folks know, there are financial outfalls and discussions that we are going to have going forward. I feel like we need to, I think this is something that we should discuss in the next coming weeks. Did not have enough time to actually digest that email and just kind of think through it. But I do definitely think that we need to have a conversation just to see what the full intent is of our neighboring municipalities and what they have in mind in cooperation.
Okay. And that's actually a good opportunity. I believe I forgot to say that I created a committee with Mr. Saba, Ms. Perry, Manager McKibben, Mr. Mark Schuster, Turnkey Taxes, and Jordan Tax Services to evaluate the physical state of the borough, and we will be monitoring the data as it comes in. It's too early right now. We don't have enough data. As we move through the quarter and into next quarter, we'll have more of a understanding of what the financial impact has been on our revenue streams, everything from earned income tax to property tax, real estate transactions, etc. It all creates that part of the pie that is our budget, and we will be monitoring that closely. So to your point, and to the council president in Green Tree, it's read loud and clear that obviously that there's difficult times ahead. The economic situation could be very negative if we don't head down the right economic path. And we don't have a lot of control over that, unfortunately. So we're gonna try to have to weather the storm as best as we can, and try to watch our budget, like I said in the beginning of the meeting, and try to make sure that we're looking at all the financial resources that we have available to us as a municipality. And obviously, shared services came up in our discussion with the committee, whether it be sharing labor force to get some projects done wherever it may be. I think it will probably all be on the table, but let's
I think
hope
Fred
and
dropped out, FYI.
let's
Sorry
hope
to
and pray that the region as a whole comes through this with flying colors. And again, we're gonna have to watch the data. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to play the wait and see game here.
Mr. President, if I may add, we've been working collaboratively as a whole, as a council, to keep the best interest of all stakeholders in Crafton in mind, because we do know that this is unsettling times. We do not know what tomorrow brings, but we are being very reactive and watching the data really closely and making sure that the decisions we make today are going to positively affect the borough going forward. So I just want to say thank you for everybody working together and making sure that we're keeping Crafton at the heart of our best interests. Phil, I think you're muted.
Thank you, Brad. Does anybody else have a comment before we close for the evening?
I just wanted to throw in there that I looked at that email real quickly, and there was no time deadline, like say whether you're interested by X time. So I think this just flows in nicely to what you said, Mr. President, about keeping all options open as we wait for this information to come in.
Yeah, and actually, do you have the governor's email up? Do you have that?
Do you want it pulled up on the screen, Phil, or?
Yeah, why don't we just bring that up? Can you bring that up real quick?
Yes.
Just make sure the public sees that real quick, so they understand the extent as of today, because this is going to be a rather fluid situation.
Are you talking about the reopening guidelines or
yes.
Okay.
Hold
Well,
on,
Mike has his. Let's. I see Mike has his hand up here. So.
Yep. All right,
Mike.
No, I was just going to say about some of the reopening, and I know there was questions about the poll. I think a lot of our stuff's going to depend on the Allegheny County Health Department, as Russ is working with the managers group. The health department's the one that's got to work with us to get the poll open. So I'm not so sure the state's not going to have something, but more importantly, if the state opens it up, is the health department going to be available to get the polls open? So there's a multifaceted kind of opening of the poll. Plus, we're getting to where we have to start getting to work on the poll so it can be opened. So in the next couple of weeks, it's going to be vital to see what's going on with the poll.
correct.
Yeah, to that point, Mr. McKibben, I mean, just to clarify if you can for us, the Allegheny County Health Department would have like a superseding control over any pool. Is that correct?
The health department controls over almost every aspect of the pool, from certifying lifeguards to making sure the water is correct, to looking over concessions if you have them. All aspects of a pool fall under the Allegheny County Health Department. We really need them to come out with a decision as to which way to proceed. We're all in the same boat, and it's just not a good one right now. Mr. Crown, I'm sorry, is spot on.
Thank you.
And the Allegheny County Health Department, unlike a lot of our neighboring communities, oversees everything within Allegheny County. lot of other of our bordering counties, it's health departments are more on the municipal level, on the local level versus a county level. So they are currently swamped with work overseeing the hospitals and nursing facilities, as well as all restaurants and any food serving. So I don't know how much priority they're going to have for the recreational side of things that they oversee.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think it was a good discussion, a healthy discussion. I'm happy to see that the governor's put forth some guidance here, and we'll continue to stay tuned to that. And thank you, Manager McKibben, for keeping us apprised of all the changes with the Chief of Police, Mr. Sumter. Thank you very much. And with that, did I just get muted again?
Yeah, that was a mistake. I'm trying to open the participants.
Okay, I
window.
get it. We'll end the
Sorry,
meeting.
dude.
With that,
Well,
I'm going to adjourn the meeting, everybody.
This is not no. Well, before I was going to ask, do we want to have any of the participants who are watching since this is software? If anyone else has any other comments, we have 6 attendees who've been sitting through the meeting, and I wanted to give them another chance to raise their hand if they have anything else they want to add.
Yeah, let's see.
Also, don't forget community announcements.
Yep. Yeah, thank you, Coletta. All right. So I'll read the community announcements. The community center and borough parks will remain closed until further notice, and all activities and bookings canceled indefinitely. The borough office will remain closed to the public. However, staff is available during normal business hours and can be reached via telephone or email. There is a drop box in the rear of the building for any written correspondence. Any changes to this action will be posted on the borough website in Savvy Citizen. Waste management's limited pickup rules, no loose items, including cardboard, and no recyclables outside the container are still in effect. The borough has placed 2 dumpsters behind the borough building for citizens to unload these restricted items. No tires, electronics, or items containing Freon allowed. And again, please be considerate of the resource. This is we don't want a tragedy of the commons. I mean, if you have an entire home renovation that you're undertaking, that's not what this is for. You should acquire your own dumpster through the appropriate avenues.
Mr. President, we have a question.
Yes.
From the public. We have a question in the chat box.
How is the property tax delay going to be communicated? So we will post that to Savvy Citizen and to the website, and I believe we'll most likely have another written communication that will go out. I don't know if Jordan is going to do something, so I'm going to let Manager McKibben chime in on that. Is Jordan going to do anything on our behalf?
I put Jordan on notice that this is probably going to be passed, but until it was passed tonight, I couldn't give him a definite yes or no. So I'll be in contact with him first thing in the morning to let him know that it is a definite action item that was passed, and see what they're going to do. I suspect that a lot of their customers in the Southwest Taxing District and the city of Pittsburgh, who they collect for, are all going to be doing the same resolution. So I'll be talking with Mr. Leonard first thing tomorrow morning.
All right, great. And one other thing I just like to say thank you to everybody on council, specifically Councilwoman Coletta Perry for all of her assistance in helping with the website and with putting together communications on an as-needed basis. You've been very graceful in the assistance there. We couldn't have done that without you, so thank you. I really appreciate it, and as does the rest of council. So thank you. So with that, I move to adjourn the meeting. So
moved.
All right. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.